All right. Shalom, everybody. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it's in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Amen. Welcome, everybody. Shalom. Peace to you. Thanks for being on with us. We appreciate your presence here today, and we're excited to get into this message. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Bonjour. Je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao. Namaste. Kamsa. Kamsamida. Messiah. Ohio. Messiah. Anakitawaya. Aquaba. Etesen. Habari. Jambo. Mimini Kofi. Nina Franco. Kutana Nwewe. Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Shalom. Bakwatav. Kwam Yashrel. Tada. Barak Alad Sham Yahava. Anan Kofi. Kohelat at Servants of Christ. Mashalam Chi. Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And we appreciate your presence here today. And hopefully you enjoy it. I'm trying to set it up where you guys can enjoy this view and we can have you guys on at the same time. It's a little trying to find the correct angle where we can get you guys to see what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's feasible. I guess I have you guys over here, son. So you guys can see what we're seeing. Because of the distance, if for you to be able to see the view, I do have to, I guess, sacrifice being able to see every comment. We've been having a lot of people on lately, so might not be able to catch every comment on here, but we'll try our best to. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. Found a spot that we've been at before and enjoyed this spot. So we're thankful and grateful. We give all praise and honor to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're thankful and grateful for everybody who helps her out and supports her business. Her business is making sure that the health of the diaspora is, in fact, her business. So we're thankful and grateful, again, to have you guys on, to the moderators, to the ministerial staff, to SOC, to Lottie Dottie, and everybody. We appreciate you so very much for spending some time with us again. And once again, we're thankful and grateful even for the view that we have here. And thanks for being on. We're excited about where the Most High is taking us. We're excited about this journey. We're excited about being led by Rabbi Hakodash. And thank you for spending some time with us one more again. I would like to talk today about prepared for greatness. Prepare for greatness. Prepare for greatness. Are you ready for greatness? And this could seem kind of cliche. And in a sense, it somewhat is. This could seem kind of cliche. And in a sense, it somewhat is. To be prepared for greatness. But that's what we're going to talk about today. No matter how cliche it may be, it would be interesting for many of you to know that one of the reasons why we don't move in the direction we're supposed to be in is because we are really afraid. Excuse me for keep getting up. We are afraid of greatness, right? If greatness is within, then we should be prepared for what's within. And we're going to get ready. We're going to get into that more. But let's say hello real quick to everybody. How you doing, Minister Nine Schnitt, Doll I Am. Sorry. And everybody on all the platforms, we appreciate you. How you doing? Sister Nadine, Liberviator, Rhea, Sharice, Sophie, Brightborn, Cream, Desiree. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. And how you doing, Frog Lobe? Sister Laura, Bernice Simmons, user 372. Okay, watching in Florida, awesome. Bump Stock, thanks for being part of the community. Appreciate you. Earth 3802. I'm a Muslim. No, I am not. But thank you for being on. Hello to you. How you doing? Goddess, thanks for being part of the community. Sister Monica, Sister Deborah, is it Mantooth? A Mantooth? A Mantooth? Uh, Sister Betty, everybody who's coming on, Kavita, Deep Program, Gladys Smith, etc. We appreciate all of you guys today. So we want to talk about being prepared for greatness. Prepare for greatness. Prepare for what's in you. How doing, Sister Lynette? Prepare. Hello, 1977 D-Web. My name is up top here. How you doing? So prepare for greatness. How you doing, Leo? So prepare for greatness. If greatness is inside of you, right? A lot of people are not prepared for greatness. If greatness is inside of you, and we're saying that we need to prepare for greatness still, what we're saying is a lot of people are not prepared for what's already inside of them, right? Our greatness comes from everybody else. What does everybody else think about us? But greatness is a lot of times it's not something that we hold within, a standard that we have within. Prepare for what's already inside of you. Would you be surprised? Maybe not, but many people might be surprised if they're searching for something that's already within. And some people are not even searching for it. Some people are just afraid to unlock what's in and to be held accountable for what's already inside. Right? How you doing, Sister Elions? Right? A lot of people are afraid and worried about what's already on the inside. How you doing, DJ? Right? How you doing, Poetical? A lot of us have it on the inside, but you're not prepared for what's there. See, if you're going to be a Mansa, right, or an emperor like Mansa Musa, if you're going to be a queen like Queen Nzinga, right, are you prepared for what's inside? A lot of people want our sisters to become fiends. Fiend for this, fiend for that, be after this, be after that, etc. Right? Right? A lot of people want us to be monsters and not Mansa. If you know about even how law works, they say that if you would act as a human, you are considered by law to be a monster. Right? They don't want you to have race. You live in a system that wants you to have as little to do with what's on the inside as possible. How you doing, Freddie Mac? You live in a system that wants you to deal with as little that's on the inside as possible. How you doing, Yehuda ben Israel? Right? They once again, you're dealing with the system, and thank you for being part of community, Kendrick. You're dealing in a system that would love for you to have as little as possible to do with what's on the inside. Go to school so they can take out what's in you, but never allow you to be able to develop what's in you. And how you doing, Brother Keith? Once again, a lot of us are part of situations to where it's more important to deal with what's on the outside than it is on what's on the inside. How you doing, Black Steel? How you doing, Minister Sonia? Right? Like a lot of people are waiting for you to give up on what's on the inside. How you doing? Thanks for being part of the community. It's tempted. All right. Thanks for being a part of the community. So a lot of us are dealing with what everybody else wants from us rather than what the Most High has placed in us. Rather than be a monster, they want you to be a monster. Rather than be a queen, they want you to be a fiend, right? But there's something on the inside that's greater than anything that's in this system, right? They want us to comply and to obey. And to comply and obey is not a bad thing as long as it's complying and obeying what you have in you, what has been placed in you, what has been placed in your people and your community that you're not giving the effort to, or you're afraid to give the effort to. Think about that. Right. What is in our community that we have given up so that we can be looked at on a higher level by people who are not necessarily looking out for your best interests, our best interests, your children's best interests? How much school or how much play has school gotten? How high has school been put on a pedestal when school is not going to feed your people? We forget that it wasn't too long ago, and thanks for being part of the community, Jen Bell. We forget that it wasn't too long ago that what you think of as school didn't exist. School was always something that was private. It was on you to homeschool. It was on you to find out what you could do to get whatever together to be invested in your child, right? It was on you to do that. It was not on everybody else, right? How you doing, Nandi? Is it Nandi? I don't know if I'm saying it right. Nandi Nanhai. Tisra. Yeah, it was on you to provide safety. But now you keep waiting for police to provide safety. The police are not there to provide safety for you, right? They work for the people who make policy. Police work for people who make policy. They come out of a they come from a lineage of slave patrolmen, right? And we've stopped thinking for ourselves. We're not in our right mind. We're out of our mind, and we're in somebody else's mindset. Yeah, little electric chairs for the mind, if you will. Yeah, these are not. And if you even look at the seats, they kind of look like the old. Well, some of the seats that they had where you had to slide into the seat. You couldn't just pull the seat out and be under a desk. It was the seat desk combo. Kind of looks like an electric chair, right? You know, but like we are out of our mind. You're not in your right mind. Grandmama used to say, "Boy, you ain't in your right mind." Right? We're out of our mind. Right? How you doing, Shannon? We're out of our mind trying to figure out why we don't place well. How you doing, Israel Whispers? Right? We're out of our mind trying to figure out what's going on. Are you prepared for greatness? If greatness is within, are you preparing what's within? Or are you looking at what everybody else says? Are you comparing? Oh, I just got out of this type of organization. All right. I just got out of this. The NAACP says we should do like this, but we know the NAACP works. So anything that reminds me of it, the shadow of death, the NAACP, we're out of our mind, right? We're out of our mind where we're so worried about everybody else's stuff. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who wrote the Miseducation of the American Negro, right? He literally said it took him like 20, 30 years to get out of a Harvard education. In other words, he said, I got the education that everybody said was going to get me there. Just like a lot of you go to school and then end up in debt. A lot of you go to school to be able to just do what everybody else does, but at least maybe you'll make a little bit more money to try and pay off the debt, and then maybe you can get a house and you can just say, hey, at least I got a house and a car, but I'm doing the same thing. I'm still having to wake up and go to sleep and take care of my children based upon somebody else's time, somebody else's mindset, somebody else's environment. Where is your environment? Where is your wineskin for the new wine? Where is the thing that's going to help you guys? How you doing, Sister Helen? I meant to text you earlier, by the way. Didn't come up with anything new, but I'm still working on it. Just want to let you know. I meant to text you yesterday. That's my fault, right? You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. What is your mind? How you doing, brother, Big Brother Thomas? What is your mind? If I say you are a Mansa, what does that mean? If I say Gianyame, what does that mean? If I say Hakwadash, what does that mean? If I tell you that our mothers should watch the golden chair, the golden seat, the golden throne, do you know what that means? If I say Anakitawaya, do you know what that means? See, I'm saying things that are part of your culture. And I'm speaking, by the way, if you didn't catch it, I'm speaking indigenous to the Americas. I'm speaking over in Africa. I'm speaking in South America. You are great, but are you prepared for what's inside? Hey, how you doing, Rise and Shine? I share, right? Like these are the things that we have to ask ourselves. Are we even in our, what is our mindset? What are our goals? Are our goals and visions and stuff have to be like everybody else's? Are you looking for, watch this, are you looking for empirical data to say whether or not you're going to make it? How you doing, Anthony? Are you looking for empirical data to be able to say you've made it to the next level? You know, empirical data is data that the empire says that they're okay with. So are you looking for data that the empire says, yeah, this is how it works. We agree with this. We like this. We appreciate this. This is what it should look like. Are you looking for something that's your own personal data? Or are you looking for something that comes from a community, something that's greater than yourself? How you doing, Bet Russell? How you doing, Minister Shante? Are you looking for something that's greater than yourself? Right? Is it greater than you? A lot of us are handicapped because you're trying to do something greater than yourself, but you're not prepared for it. You don't have an environment that can fit in something that great. Is your environment big enough to handle a family that's going to change the way your people operate? You said we wasn't. indoctrination with other languages. In fact, Americans have been lied to about our a true identity and things. Are you prepared for greatness? You say you got DNA memory. Okay, if your DNA memory is Cherokee, are you prepared for that? What does that mean? Okay, Mr. Duke, you starting off with that? Okay, cool. Once again, I don't mute anybody, and if you are going to be somebody that's going to participate, then that's great. But thank you for being back on. Appreciate you. Right, and how you doing, Sister Beverly? Like, are you prepared for greatness? Right. What would it look? What would you look like if you were prepared? What would life look like if you were prepared? See, you get free time. How is your time set up? Is your time set up to go ahead and do the same thing that the people that you're against are? Okay, your DNA is alien. Okay, that's cool, right? If that's what you're doing. So either way, are you prepared for that? Then? What is your environment, right? Whatever it is, right? Are you prepared for that? Are you ready for next level of thought? Right? If you're going to get board the mothership, are you prepared for it? Whatever it is. I'm here to ask you because a lot of people talk a lot of this stuff. People say, I want to be sovereign. Let me be separate from the system. What in your life says you can live away from the system? Right? Hey, how you doing, Envy Stunts? Like, okay, here's a question for you. If they've done this already and you weren't prepared, if they said you can't come to the store and get food, or you can only get a little bit of food, or you'll only be able to get food from the store, if they cut off your food, are you prepared? Have you foraged? Do you know how to forage? You're people from the Black Belt, if we want to talk about United States of America, you made the soil what it is. You're the ones who fed people, even if they made themselves your owners for a season. You prepared the ground. Are you prepared for that? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Are you prepared? Are you prepared to hold a vision down even when everybody else doesn't agree with it? If your family doesn't agree with what you're doing and they cut you off, are you going to go and cry and that's all you're going to do? Is that all you got? How you doing, Sister Green? Is that all we have? Is tears? If you're going to cry tears, are you at least willing to cry those tears into the soil that something might grow? Put it into something that's worthy of something. Are you prepared for doubt? Sometimes you'll doubt the greatness that's in you or the greatness that's been laid before you. Are you really ready for that? Watch this. Are you prepared for love? Somebody's going to come by and love you in a way you've never been loved. They're going to show you something the way you've never been shown, and it's going to feel foreign to you. You said you enjoy gardening? Amen. You said if you always prepare for yourself, then you could just let your mind only be without regret. Well, even when you prepare for yourself, what's within you, if it's greatness, it's for others too. So if I'm prepared for greatness and I'm prepared to be able to link up with the greatness of others and create an environment for that, then it means that I don't mind running into greatness. Also, too, that means sometimes you might run into great opposition. You prepare for love? I'm on. How you doing, Insatiable Company? Thanks for being part of the community, right? That means that somebody might be coming to love you, right? And that means sometimes even the people that love you will have great opposition, because if they're great, even when they're in opposition, it means the opposition will be great. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to find a way to agree with our brothers and sisters. Amen, Sister Betty, right? It doesn't mean that you might not deal with opposition from your brother or sister. Are you prepared for greatness? Are you prepared for that time that your husband can't see what you're talking about, wife? And you're going to have to figure out a way to still be able to love that person through something they can't see. Are you prepared, husband, to love your wife when she can't see what it is and you're in great opposition? Are you prepared to take care of the greatness in your child and they've been learning stuff that's not of you, it's not of your people, and you're going to try to help them out, and you're going to have to show great love to literally love out great hell. You're going to have to love the hell out of somebody in a great manner. Stuck in financial handicap. Well, even in that, are you prepared for that? What? See, watch this. Even with the handicaps, right? There's no such thing as money, anyways. And I'm not trying to say to anybody that you don't need money at all, right? You live in the system, but you're not of it. Money's not even real. People who make more money usually have more spot for flow. Remember, we talked about flow, currency, right? Currency. I think we were at another spot when I was talking about it. But remember, we were talking about currency, flow, right? Usually, if somebody's making more money, they found a way to make something flow. And that's it. Money is just a manifestation. Food is a manifestation, right? Some of y'all like to use the term energy. Well, energy is a manifestation. If I put energy into something, I'm just saying I want to manifest something out of that energy. And that means before I put the energy into it, my soul has to be attached to it. Before I put my soul attached to it, my spirit has to be attached to it. All I'm saying is if I want that thing to become manifest, right, then I have to put my pneumatical thought, my spirit, my psychology then into it, my soul, and then I have to get into a place to where now I'm willing to get my hands dirty. Because even if I have faith that something can be there, faith without works is dead. The only reason, even with money being oppressing, the only reason why money is oppressing is because of how you deal with money, how you've been taught to deal with money, and what somebody's giving you. See, other people, if you're under their thought process, they hand you the money. They hand you the flow. They hand you the energy. They invested where they wanted to be invested. So you've got to take control back. And people don't like that, and it's hard to take control back, especially if you never had control. Or watch this, don't even worry about taking control. Be part of something greater than you that has control, that will sow into you. This is why we talk about a kingdom mindset. A kingdom is bigger than you. A nation is bigger than you. That's why we got to be nation builders. How you doing, Sister Saul? That's why you're called to build a nation and to be a peculiar people and to be a royal priesthood and to be a chosen generation, that you might show forth the praises, lifting up something or someone greater than yourself. Yahweh. Alakam. That's why you got to be bigger than something than just you. If you only can exist on the corner, then then you'll look great for the corner, but you can't be any great else. There's no greatness outside of the corner for you. If you only exist on the corner, then you can go ahead and have Tim's on, right? You can have them J's on. You can have the bronze on if that's what you're wearing. I don't know whatever else you're wearing. You might be wearing the Kawhis or the Steps. I don't know. Whatever you're wearing, you can have them. You can have on the $200 shoe and it'll look fine. And it's interesting. Whatever environment you decide to thrive in, you'll always find. Have you ever found it interesting that you guys be thinking all homeless people? Having been homeless myself before in the past for a while, I recognize how that works, right? Like you think that being homeless and all that stuff means somebody. There's a lot of homeless people that you pass every day that look better than you because they're even able to find a flow. There's places they can get clothes. There's places they can get food. There's places they can get shelter. There's places that will allow them to make a buck here or there. There's places that if they help them out, they'll give them better food than what they get at the shelter, or they get off of a truck or whatever, right? Resources are abundant. In their environment, they've learned. How you doing, Sister Tracy? In their environment, they've learned how to make that work. How you doing, Dennis? They've learned how to make that work. Even in their environment, they look fine in the environment. It's an energy thing. It's a spirit thing. It's a spirit, soul, physical manifestation thing. You said, how can I prepare for playing roles like wife, daughter, or sibling if and when I find it defeating? Well, and how you doing, Lisa, too? Thank you for being part of the community. Well, that's a great question. Let's ask this. What is a wife? Like, let's get out of somebody else's mindset. In our culture, I can only give a cultural perspective, right? If you choose to go with it, and I'm not coming at you, I'm just saying overall to everybody. I can only give a cultural perspective. Everything starts with culture, right? What is a wife? See, in the system that a lot of people live in, a wife is something that you try to become after you walk down the aisle. In our culture, you're supposed to be a wife before you get married. You're supposed to be pre-qualified. I said it before, I say it again. You have to get a license before you start driving. Pre-qualified to drive. How you doing, Crypto? Grand Rising. Right? You have to get a license before you can work in the salon. You have to be licensed before you can cut heads at the barbershop. You have to be licensed before you tattoo somebody and give ink, right? Put ink in somebody's system. That's what you're doing, right? You have to be licensed, supposed to be, right, before you get them injections and them BBLs, right? You have to be licensed, right? You have to be certified even before you can become a doctor. You have to be certified or before you can become a lawyer. How you doing, Justin? You got to have all that stuff in place first, right? But when it comes to marriage, nobody's made sure you're pre-qualified. So we have to ask ourselves first, are you even pre-qualified to be a husband? Are you pre-qualified to be a wife? Do you know, if you're a wife, do you know what a husband's supposed to bring when he comes to the table? I'm just saying, the reason I mention that is because you be seeing a lot of these sisters with jacked up BBLs or jacked up behinds when they get these injections where they be putting rubber and all types of stuff into these sisters that are trying to live something that's not inside of them. That's what we're talking about today. Are you prepared for the greatness that's inside? It's not even inside your body. You need somebody to inject something into your body, right? You need that saline put inside you before you think that you're a woman enough, when you were all woman in the first place. You need somebody to remove the stretch marks. If somebody can't handle the fact that you were once big and got small, or once small and got big, or you had their baby, or you had a baby, if they can't handle that about you, then they can't handle you. But see, you're not prepared for the greatness that's inside, and you don't look for somebody that looks for greatness that's inside. Do I know the community of Beta Israel? People call us that. Yeah, I am of that. But I've got enough E1B1A in me to know that I'm not concerned about what somebody else would try to tell me to make me something that I've been before they, existed as far as tribes. Not existed. That's a little too much. As far as, who we were before somebody else needed to tell us who we were. So I'm definitely familiar with it because people try to call my people that. Like Kush is in my blood. They try to call that. So I know what that is, right? You're Beta Israel? Well, I'm not, right? And nobody should ever be Beta Israel. Beta Israel is not a biblical Tanakh or Torah or I mean, it might be a Talmudic principle, but I don't even think technically that's in there either, right? But nobody should be. Nobody should be called that. There's no such thing as alpha or beta, right? That's Greek, somebody else's culture. So once again, but going back to the marriage, see, or anything, see, we're not pre-qualified. We don't even know what that is. If somebody says, "Are you a husband or a wife?" You're thinking, "Did somebody put a ring on it? Did somebody walk me down the aisle? Did I make sure I signed a contract with the government?" Hello to you. That's your way of saying hello. I'm not sure if you did give a compliment or not. I didn't mute you, but thanks for being on. And if you're going to say stuff that seems to be safe for the community, then feel free to be in. All right. Beta means house. Bit or bait, or really it was called ba'it before. That means house in After. Beta is talking about a Greek form of the word. Sure, it's close to it because somebody took phonetic alphabet and turned it into Greek alphabet. I'm aware of what I talk about. I promise you, I am. I promise you, I know what I'm talking about. I teach this stuff. So I live this stuff, more important than that. Right? So see, somebody keeps talking about this stuff. See, you're not qualified. You don't do what I say. You don't live how I want you to live. But that's fine. Because my blessing doesn't come from you. Right? But it doesn't come from you. The blessing of the Most High comes because I'm obedient to the Most High. Do I believe in mathematics? Of course. Every character that I speak. Aleph Bet, Gemon, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lat, Lamed, Mem, Nun, etc. They all have numbers attached. So even in the words that we speak, we have to have numbers attached. Sure. Right? But you got to be pre-qualified for marriage. And once again, I don't even know. See, we're talking about greatness right now, if you don't mind. So I don't even know how we're attaching all that. We're trying to go different ways. See, you have to even stand firm in your greatness. People are going to try to get you to go every single way besides how you're led from the inside. Everything should be measured, even your melanin. You know, melanin is not measured from the outside in, it's measured from the inside out. You should know the tree by the fruit it bears. Why? Because the fruit manifested from the inside. Just because somebody picks the fruit on the outside, it does not mean that that the fruit started on the outside. The fruit started on the inside. Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. And how you doing, babe? My wife is on once again. Please check out my wife when you have a chance. She's a herbalist. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist. And thank you for helping her out in her business. Her business, of course, is to support the health of the diaspora. That's her business. So thank you for supporting that. Right? And how you doing? Is I'm born? I forgot. But thanks for being on with us. Right? So you've got to say to yourself, am I prepared for greatness? Once again, they don't want you to be a monster. They want you to be a monster. They don't want you to be a queen. They want you to be a fiend. Some of y'all think that Cardi B and Lil Kim and I don't even know, Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, right? Y'all think that those are people that are, man, I want to be like them, man. They in charge, they in control. They are fiends. They have to show their body just to get attention. I'm not here to slut shame or anything like that. I'm not here to do that. I'm not calling them any names. I'm telling you, though, they are fiends. They have been designed to show little girls that you should go ahead and fiend for attention. I'll get the money, but I fiend for the attention. A lot of people like that on social media, male and female. You out here fiending, they will prostitute themselves just for likes and shares. A lot of leaders are like that. I will do whatever y'all ask, which means that I can't leave because I've got to do whatever you ask so that y'all will stick around. That's why a lot of people start leaving churches, because you can't get truth from somebody who's more worried about what you think than the truth. And how you doing, King? King Mateo? King Mateo? Mateo Isaac? Is that a Polynesian name, or is that something else? Right? See, a lot of people are fiending. They don't want you to become queens. They want you to be fiends out here. Right? We'll give you this. Just twerk a little bit. We'll give you this. Just bow down and don't be a wife. We'll give you this. Don't tell me how to run anything in the house. Right? Shut your mouth and I'll give you this. I pay the bills in this house. They want you to be a fiend, but not a queen. How you doing with Big Wing Bush? We talked about last night with Minister Morrell, an accountable man. An accountable man is okay with being held accountable by his wife. How you doing, Libra Moon? An accountable man is okay with being held accountable by his wife. I don't want a woman. I want a wife. I don't want a little girl. I want a wife. I don't mind loving the little girl in my wife, but comprehend she's a wife and a little girl at the same time. And so I need a wife, somebody who completes me. I can't have somebody who completes me who never tells me anything about me, because that's somebody who incompletes me, if you will, or leaves me incomplete. And thank you for the love. And how you doing, springtime? How you doing, Brother Coburn? How you doing, Mr. Swan? Prince Al, right? We're missing it when people want us to become something that we're not. Become something that I'm not. Become something that I'm not. Become something that I'm not. If she's a queen, she's designed to be a queen. But here again, once again, now, are you prepared for greatness? Has somebody prepared you for royalty? A lot of people will say, I'm royalty. I'm a king. I'm a queen. I run this house. Are you prepared for that? I run this house. Are you prepared for that? I run this house. Are you prepared for that? Beloved, let not your heart be troubled. If you believe in the Father, also believe in me. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would not have told you. But guess what? That sounds great. A lot of people, we could stop right there for a lot of people. Right? Beloved, talking to me. Let not your heart be troubled. My passions are taken care of. If you believe in the Father, also believe in me. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would not have told you. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. But then he said, wait a minute, I'm still not finished yet. I gave you the blueprint, but now we got to go back and work these things out. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would not have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, you will be there also. The person who prepares has to go first. If you have to go first, I go to prepare a place for thee, so that where I am, you will be there also. Did you catch that? If I'm going to be prepared for everybody coming in, for everybody who's going to be part of this, for everybody who wants to be governed by this, for everybody who's going to be part of this business, part of this family, I go to prepare a place. See, if you're going to be a leader of an environment, I'm here to tell you right now, sometimes it can be a lonely place. I go to prepare a place for thee. You won't see me for a minute. See, in our culture, the husband, when he makes a mansion, he adds on to his father's house. And the father tells him when he's finished building. So while the wife is preparing for the husband to come back so they can become one and be married, she's preparing herself for him. He's preparing a place for her to be inside of. But before she can really become his bride, she's his wife already on paper there, right? But she's not his bride yet. She cannot become his bride till he has gone forward first and prepared a place. You got to go ahead. You got to go where nobody else has gone yet. She ain't been there yet. You got to go where your team hasn't been yet. If you're a team leaders, you got to go where they haven't gone yet. How you doing, J. Keith, man? You got to go to a place where they've never been. And at the same time, give them reminders that, hey, I might not be there where you are, but I promise you I'm not there. Not because I'm trying to say I'm better than you, not because I'm trying to say that you ain't got it going on, not because I'm not trying to say that you don't know nothing. I'm trying to tell you I've gone to a place. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, look, I've go to the mountaintop and I've seen the I may not get there with you. He was saying I might not live while you're living, but I've seen the promise for us as a people. That's leadership. That's setting up an environment, right? The goal of the leader is to prepare a place for you. That means that while you're preparing, he's preparing the place. You have to prepare yourself for the place. He's preparing the environment for your greatness. Preparation behind the scenes, preparing the place for your environment, right? Or preparing the environment for you, rather, for your greatness. Are you prepared for greatness? Prepare for greatness. People say prepare for battle. Prepare for greatness. You fighting against a corrupt system and you're not ready to leave it. If I can just make sure that in this, we can just vote the right person in. The system is corrupt. Are you prepared? Are you preparing yourself so that when the greater environment comes, that you can step out of it? Or are you just satisfied with voting still and thinking that, hey, voting ain't changed nothing yet, but one of these days, some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. Heaven is supposed to be inside you right now. If you're not experiencing heaven in your life, then we got to figure out what's going on. If you're still going through hell and not experiencing any heaven, we got to figure out what's going on. Because if the heaven in you is supposed to, even if you believe, some of you may not believe in what I'm saying, but for those that do, the heaven that's in you is preparing you for the heaven that you're going to ultimately reside inside of. If all you got is hell in you, but you keep talking about you going to heaven, we got to figure this out. Because maybe you are, but you should start experiencing heaven now. You should start experiencing joy and peace now. You should be able to be a long sufferer now. How you doing, 757? Sincere Jen, thanks for being on. How you doing, Sister Amanda? Right? Prepare for greatness. Prepare for the environment that you're about to go inside of. Are you prepared for the environment? Yes, I know that not everything's perfect. Are you prepared to go into perfection? People think, give me the environment, but why would I give you an environment you're not prepared for? How you doing, Brother Dwayne? People come in the comments. Hey, can I come on? Can I make a call? Can I speak? Well, I don't know if you're prepared. I'll even say, hey, put in the chat what you want to talk about. No, just let me on. Just let me on. Or they won't say anything. Well, if you can't even act right in a little bit of words you're allowed to speak in a line that scrolls up and down, how in the world would I say that you're prepared to come in front of the people? How you doing, Brother Terry? Right? You got to be prepared. If they would just give us reparations, you know, you can't get reparations unless you're not considered to be the same people. And how you doing, blessed and free? Thanks for being part of the community. Hear me and hear me well. I'm going to say it again. You can't get reparations if you're considered to be the same people as who you're asking for reparations from. That's not how reparations work. You have to be considered as separate people. The reason why you got reparations is because you weren't considered to be people. Then they made you people called freedmen. They gave you sovereign right. Freedmen got 40 acres and a mule, not Americans. The 14th Amendment, they erased your ability to be freedmen so they could take it back. So now you have no right to ask for reparations unless you want to be separate. You have to be a nation. Exactly. And how you doing, Lady K? Everybody's talking about give us reparations. You have to be a nation before you ask for reparations. You're trying to be an American citizen, asking American citizens to give out of the corporation to give you what's in the corporation. They don't give reparations to people that are in the corporation. That's why oftentimes if somebody sues the company they're a part of, you might win, but you can't work for the company no more. Right? You can't just sue us. Colin Kaepernick, look, when you and thank you for the love. Colin Kaepernick, when you decided to do what you did, you knew it was only a matter of time. Right? All the show and talking about we take him back and we'll do this and we'll go watch him throw and blah blah. Like that was over. That was never gonna really happen. That was for show. Because if we're gonna give you reparations, it's over. You got to separate. If you're gonna come against it, because see, in order to get reparations, we have to admit that we did something wrong to somebody that we don't own. It's gonna bless somebody. If you get this, if you get these principles, I promise you, this is gonna bless somebody, right? If you want reparations, I have to admit that I did something wrong to a real person. But if you are part of a fake corporation and want to keep saying that you're part of a fake corporation, you have to be a fake person. Therefore, if you're going to be a fake person and be part of this fake corporation, then why would I give you anything to set you up to be a real sovereign? Yeah, they told him lies. They tell us lies. They tell everybody lies. You're living in a lie that says that you should be able to get something without being a people, without being a nation. And how you doing, Brother TJ? Does old boy ever work? What are you talking about, me? This is my work. If you're talking about do I have a job, I don't need one of those. I decided a long time ago I was done with that. Right? You got to ask yourself. Right? You keep trying to be part of a system. How you doing, Boring God is 41? Right? You keep asking to be part of a system. That's not your system. You said your husband and you started a Bible called Knowing Oneself. Okay. Well, if you decided to make up your own canon, so be it. I decided to go by the canon of the Father who made heaven and earth. I don't know if you're talking about making another version. As long as it's dealing with Avla, hopefully it is. You know, Avlas and Alaphat and stuff like that. Right? And hopefully it has the right principles, bare minimum. Right? But you got to recognize, you have to recognize that like you have to recognize that a lot of us are not prepared for greatness. Right? We are not prepared for greatness. With great, they tell you this in comic books, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Right? They tell you that. With great power comes great responsibility. You said you should take reparation. Sure, okay. Are you prepared? You got your weapons together? Whatever greatness you're talking about, you got to be prepared for it. So your enemy is prepared for greatness. Whatever you consider your enemy to be, your enemy is prepared for greatness. What they consider to be greatness. Are you? You said, so how do we as a people unify and create a nation strong enough to be recognized? Well, once again, it starts, I mean, are you willing to start off with anything? What are you doing to come together? I mean, we're working on getting land, right? But that's just a start. We got to have our own food. We need to make sure that the dollar goes in between us. And it's actually difficult to do at first. But are you willing to put in the work? You said, doesn't it start with self? Some of it, sure. But what is self going to be? Is it going to be selfish, or is it right? Is it going to be selfish or self-centered? And are you talking about being selfish as far as community as well? Once again, is it just for it starts with self, so I only see everything through the prism of self, or what is the barometer? What is it that we understand? I know people say overstand or understand, but understand literally means stand under or be under a standard. So what is the standard? And that's really what people are getting messed over. Like I don't mind if you don't have the same religiosity that I do, for real, right? Like I don't care about that as much as like if we're talking about diaspora as a whole. First things first, okay, like because going back to Mansa Musa, who I've mentioned a couple times, Mansa Musa was somebody where we only think about him as being the richest man who ever lived, but we never talk about things he actually did for his people. If you study Mansa Musa, a historian, Ibn, I can't remember his last name, Ibn Tutu or Butu, I'm probably wrong on that part. I think I'm mistaken him for another Muslim brother, but a historian, I know the first name was IBM. I can't remember what the surname is. But basically, he came over and was frustrated because Mansa Musa was supposed to be a devout Muslim. You know, Mansa Musa's older brother walked with Muhammad, excuse me, right? And as he walked, you would think that his younger brother would hang on to things, but Mansa Musa allowed people to be themselves. He allowed people to worship who they would worship. He allowed things to run a certain way. There had to be certain laws that governed everything, but he was like, hey, if you're part of a culture, in his own court, if you're part of a culture and women are allowed to expose their breasts, fine. Like, we don't do that, but you can do that. You know, but there were certain rules and regulations that kept them together. So the other person comes by is like, well, you don't do this and you don't do that and you don't see, this is the way I see it. Remember, the historian, even he started off as kind of young and brash, and nobody ever really checked him. So he kind of grew up thinking that he knew everything. So that's part of the historian's background too. But he kind of tried to put that on Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa, he was prepared for greatness. He was prepared to be an emperor. He was prepared to be a king. He had been prepared since birth, and that's part of our problem too. Okay, son of, so Eben is more kind of sort of like the surname. I can't remember his real name then. Thank you for the correction. Right? You're absolutely right. Sorry about that. But you see what I'm saying? Like, he didn't. Mansa Musa's whole thing was, I've been prepared for the throne since I was little. So I'm okay with being somebody who can lead an environment, assemble people together in an environment. That's why it was easy for Mansa Musa to spend money and help the poor. That's why he was able to go and build edifices that are still considered to be some of the most beautiful mosques that have ever existed. That's why he was able to do those things. Right? That's why he was able to do those things, because he had it in him. He was prepared from birth. He was prepared from birth. A lot of us haven't been prepared from birth, and we're trying to take new steps. Cool. So now let's realize we're little children in this. A lot of us are trying to figure out how to do this as adults, right? But we've got to figure out how to be born again, right? We have to figure out how to be born again in this sense, especially that you have not walked this before. So before you start talking about I got a new walk, do you have a new crawl? Before you start talking about a new crawl, do you have a new roll? Before you have before you have a new roll, do you have a new scoot? Before you have a new scoot, do you have a new cry? Before you have a new cry, do you have a new breast to be able to suckle from? Like, there's an environment that has this all. Everybody keeps talking about I'm gonna walk like this and I'm gonna run with the horses and I'm gonna do all this great stuff, but you haven't learned how to eat from your mother's breast. You have to learn that. You know that, right? Like, it takes sometimes a little while for babies and mamas to get this thing together where you can even latch on to be able to eat. collapsed the gold or the gold standard and stuff there because he gave out so much. Yeah. Like you had to learn how to eat first. And you can't eat steak in the beginning. But we're acting like, hey, I'm gonna get myself together because I just learned this yesterday, or I just came out the system, or I'm not gonna listen to anybody else, or blah blah. Like you haven't learned how to eat. Yeah, we gotta kill the ego. You gotta learn how to eat first. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. Before you start talking about you gonna run and do this stuff or whatever, if you got born again, what you're really saying is that you just came out the womb. Not the womb of your mother this time. You just came out the womb of the realm of thought, of comprehension. Preparing. There you go. Once again, and how you doing, Brother Jeremy? Are you prepared for greatness? If I'm born, see, people talk about I was born into greatness. No, you were born with greatness inside of you. But what if your environment wasn't great? Do you have the ability to reshape your environment? We talked about this yesterday when we kept talking about Israel continues to scatter. Like everybody keeps running away. If I move to the better place, if I live the better way, if it becomes then somebody will allow me to do blah, 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 blah. Like I'm not worried about what somebody allows me to do. Unless you the most high and unless you're my wife. Those are the two that I have to answer to. Everybody else, I'm not doing things worried about does it please you if it doesn't please the Father, if it doesn't please my wife. How you doing, Sterling? UK in the house, right? If it doesn't please them, then when I go home to my environment, if my wife's not pleased, then who cares about what you please? Like I could have 5,000 people on at the same time, and all of them, which doesn't happen, but all of them could agree with what I'm saying, right? And at the end of the day, if I go home and my wife and I ain't right, it's gonna be miserable. See, we have people that do this in reverse. You got so many people caping up for Tom Brady. I'm so glad that he did it. His wife was, now you got to start calling his wife names. She was evil and she was a witch and she blah, blah, blah. Look, man, that man decided to get with that woman. He promised her that he would stop playing. Well, he always said he wanted to play till he was 45. He told his wife he would stop playing. He decided to keep on going. He won a championship. He still decided to play after it. She gave him one more year. He decided to try and push it another year after he promised he would retire. What you expect her to do? Now you got to have cognitive dissonance. Now you got to make her look bad so that you can go ahead and lift up your goat, your God, your standard. But I don't want to be that. If that's what it takes, I don't want to lose my wife. Right? That's why you should be, if you really appreciate what I do, you should always be grateful for my wife. Because if my wife ever said, Kofi, you're finished, then that's it. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but that's the power that she has. She has the power. The Most High teaches me with Abraham and his wife, when she said, hey, Ishmael got to go. Hagar got to go. The Most High said, whatever your wife said, I'll take care of him. But whatever she says, she come first. That's why you got to marry a wife, somebody who's not submitted to a man. She's not in submission, she's in submission. My wife sees the necessity of the mission, and therefore she has the same veracity and ferocity when protecting the mission, and therefore she'll protect her husband and make sure her husband gets fed, because she knows that her husband feeds into the mission and gets fed from the mission. She knows the people who are about the same mission get fed through that. So she's submitted to the mission so that she can make sure she feeds me mission, feeds me things to push me in mission, and therefore now I'm able to feed people in mission as well. But see, that's when you marry a wife, not a woman. That's when you marry a wife and not a girlfriend. That's when you don't date, but you come honored from the beginning saying, hey, will you be my wife? Let's talk to the parents. Let's see if there's something we can do. Let's deal with this correctly. See, from the beginning, you got to be trained husband. You got to be trained wife. A lot of people aren't trained like that. Right? By the time your child hits 7 years old, if it's a boy, he should be his father's apprentice. If it's a girl, she should be mama's apprentice. People ain't doing that. And it's because of the environment. You don't have an environment that allows you to have time to make sure that your little boy is around you in your own business so that he will continue the family business and you'll give him his inheritance when he turns 21 because you would have taught him correctly. Well, I don't know about that, but up church, excuse me, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Praise y'all for the knowledge and the wisdom, right? Praise Yah for the Kodesh that she teaches. Like you got to be in a position. You are not recognizing standards. We don't have a standard. No rites of passage anymore. I never asked my father for money. My father gave me money for the first time when he saw that I could raise a family. He didn't even say, good job, son. He just put his hand on my shoulder and he put some money in my pocket. He nodded his head and it meant the world to me. Still does. Best compliment I've ever gotten from my father. My father told me, this is how my father raised a son. My father said, look, son, if you graduate and you go to college, you already got a free scholarship. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to play ball. I was playing ball, hurt myself. He's like, you don't got to play ball. You don't have to be a great musician. I was playing music. I was pretty decent, right? I actually worked as a musician for a long time. But he was like, you don't have to do any of that. He said, all you got to, he said, look, if you do what's supposed to, you already got a scholarship. I didn't do what I was supposed to. I graduated high school on time, but I played around with it. I was skipping and doing all that. By the time I started my senior year, I was still halfway through my sophomore year. Had to basically take 2 classes each block. I don't know if we were doing periods of blocks, and I think we were doing blocks by that point. Had to do 2 classes each block. Had to come after school to be able to do my electives, right? Graduated with a D average. Got awards because I did so well my senior year. Got a whole bunch of awards, but graduated with a D average. My father said, hey, told me though, from when I was young, he said, look, if you're not going to get a job or if you're not going to go to college, so you can't stay here. He had already given me something. He had already said, this is your inheritance, but there's rules and regulations. There's a right to this. You don't just get it just because you're my son. You get it because you follow the law of this house. The direction that I give and the law your mother lays down, that's what you follow. If you don't follow it, you can't get what I have for you. Not even because I don't want to give it to you. Check it out. It's not even because I don't want to give it to you. I already told you it's yours. It's because if you don't get the grades, how you going to go there? And if you're not going to obey me and not get the grades so you can get what I had already laid out for you, then guess what? You can't stay in the apartment anymore. That's why halfway through my senior year, I already knew what was going to happen. Join the U.S. military, right? I didn't even stay around, right? I got some of the wildness out of me and stuff. I traveled as a musician around Canada and America and a little bit of Europe and went into Mexico a little bit and stuff. I was able to go and do some of that. And then as soon as the next school year started, I had to go in the U.S. military because I had no other option. I wasn't going to work at McDonald's. No offense to anybody. I've ended up working at fast food joints and stuff like that in my life before. But I'm just saying at the time, coming out of high school, I was like, I don't see the value in McDonald's. So guess what I had to do? Join the U.S. military. It's the only thing I had. And I praise y'all for it now. You know, I don't like all the stuff that comes with it, but I did learn how to become on time. I did learn how to make sure I knew how to, obey. I did learn how to make sure that I comprehend chain of command. I did learn how to make sure that I present myself the way that I feel should be presentable to represent whatever country or nation that I'm trying to represent. So I did learn a lot of great things from that, right? But there's a right to this stuff. See, nowadays you raise these boys soft. Matter of fact, you don't raise men, you raise grown boys. How you doing, Shiso Israel? You said, how do I change my parenting? I want our son to be raised better than what we're doing. Once again, it's cultural. And I don't know, like, I'm just going to talk to you about culture. How you doing, Sister Mary? I'm going to just talk to you about culture tonight, right? Or tonight. This rising, right? So when you talk about culturally, like we don't raise them like that. We don't have the environment. We don't even think the environment is necessary. We keep saying, hey, you guys who are corrupt in this environment, we want you to teach our children, teach them better. But you can't, look, I can't eat rotten fruit and expect it to taste fresh. Did you hear? You hear what I'm just saying? I can't eat rotten fruit and expect a fresh taste. I can't eat seedless food and expect for it to give me the taste or the texture of seeds. How you doing, Diced Apple? Right? I can't eat the things, right? I can't eat things that are jacked up and expect non-jacked results. Yeah, exactly. You're spoiling the son and wanting him to act how we want. You said Michelle Obama said she was raising adults, not children. A mouthful. It's hard to change. It can be hard to change, but watch this. It becomes less hard when it starts in your mind with this. You have to ask yourself, and you have to ask yourself a question before you make it a declaration. Here's the question you have to ask yourself: is it necessary to change? It's a lot. You have to ask yourself a question: is it necessary to change? If the answer is yes, then now you have to make a declaration: I will change. I didn't say you even want to change. If it's necessary to change, even if I don't want it, I will change. And that literally means as a result of my will. You have free will. Nobody's messing with your free will, not even the Most High. In any religiosity, the Most High doesn't mess with your free will, except for people who believe that he controls everything, but that means you're a puppet. Right? But if you have something called free will, everybody can deal in that. Yes. So if he's going to be a great person, a great man, an awesome individual, he's going to be better than you. If he's going to be better than anybody that's come before you, if he's going to make your grandchildren great, because remember, wealth is not just something for you, it's generational. Before you start talking about the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, the first part of that verse says you have to think about your children's children. So if you're going to leave a legacy for your children's children, that means that you're not just raising a child, you're also raising a parent. So do you want so watch this. Do you see people do this weird thing? Well, let that child be a child, of course, right? But I also want my child to start learning how to parent while they're a child. Because it's not just about my child. That's why when your parents get these grandchildren, that's why they act crazy. That's why they let them do whatever they want, right? Because they don't have it in their mind that you raised a parent to parent the child the way that you should parent. So you have to, a lot of these grandparents, what's happened with them is when they say like, oh, don't touch them like that, don't yell, don't spank, what they're really saying is, I shouldn't have raised you like that. Or they don't think that you should raise your child. Any grandparent, I know we got some on here, so I apologize if I'm hurting some feelings. I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is cultural perspective. All right, I'm just telling you the truth, right? Any grandparent who says that I needed to make sure that I didn't spare the rod with you, but then stops you from sparing the rod, or makes you spare the rod with your grandchild, or with their grandchild. Excuse me. Let me say that again. Any of you grandparents out here who wouldn't spare the rod with your child, but tells your child to spare the rod with your grandchild, you don't comprehend how legacy works. Because you were not equipped. You were not prepared for greatness. See, when you get a grandchild, the reason why you love your grandchild like that is because that's greatness. That means that we got some generational wealth going on. That means that my bloodline, my name, my memories will exist for generations to come. Right? But then if you raise a child, and now you want to tell your child how to raise a child. You got a baby raising a baby. You didn't raise a parent. You say this generation is so lost. Who raised this generation? Your parents are tougher on them than us. Well, that might be something that's there, but you got it, and there's a lot of variables to this, right? But hear what I'm saying. You say this generation is lost, you got to ask yourself, who raised this generation? Why is it that we've gone from the 60s and 70s with all these great leaders? And yes, I know some of them were killed and they made us afraid to become leaders and stuff like that. And we had some Willie Lynch syndrome where we saw our sons killed in front of us. And so we said we won't have it again. But why is it that from the 60s, we don't have anybody, right? A generation is 40 years. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed in 1968, right? 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018. That's 55 years ago. About. Malcolm X was killed 3 years prior. That's 58 years ago. So we're basically a generation and a half removed. That's not that long ago from greatness. And we never prepared anybody to walk in their shoes. We're not prepared to protect anybody so that when the next leader gets up, we won't allow a school teacher to tell them you can't lead your people. And so they get taught to never be a leader again. We're not prepared to make sure that we protect our leaders. When a leader steps up, are you ready to protect them? We'll tear down a leader before we protect him. We can't wait for Dr. Umar to mess up so that we can say we're not going to listen to him anymore. You want non-protected leaders to thrive. It doesn't make sense. How you doing, Brother Ali? We want non-protected women to be great mothers. Come on now. We want non-protected little girls to grow up and become great mothers and great wives. We want non-protected little boys to grow up and become great fathers and great husbands. Where they do that at? In other countries, you better not ever let your child be seen on TikTok, under age 13 especially. Over here, your child is twerking on TikTok. But then you say, why are other countries doing better? Your nation is failing your children. If we are the nation, then we're failing them. If we're the nation, if we're the people that are supposed to lead them, then we're failing. And I apologize. I'm having issues with technology. One of my phone got wet, so we're probably gonna have to end this earlier than we usually do. So I do apologize. We normally go pretty long on Fridays, but we got a little bit more time before I'm gonna have to go ahead and shut it down. But I want you to see, right? You talk about grooming, and you guys talk about grooming as far as, see, these people are grooming these babies and they're trying to sleep with these babies. But you know, people groom people for greatness too. You might hate my example, but I'm gonna give you an example of somebody. This is how your enemy works. They get this, right? Your enemy works like this, but they get this. You ready? Bill Clinton. You think Bill Clinton just showed up on the scene and he just decided he's gonna be a lawyer one day? They saw greatness in Bill Clinton when he was 5. And they said, we're gonna groom you. We're going to groom you. We're going to groom, literally being like, we're going to be your wife. We're going to walk you through this. We're going to prepare you to be married to the system. We're going to groom you. That's what a groom is. We're going to prepare you for a position in the system where you will become the president. And what will you do? You'll go to other countries like Haiti and you'll take their rice down. You'll grow bad rice over in Arkansas. And when you guys can't sell it because the rice is so bad, you'll literally go to a whole nother country. They groomed him for that, to tear down the economy of Haiti just so that they can put bad food there and cause people to have to eat rice that they don't even like and work with the Red Cross to make it happen. You say, can you speak on Dr. Omar a little? Umar Johnson, UMAR, last name Johnson, JOHNSON. Right? They groomed him for that. They groomed him to be able to do things like that. They groomed him to act black enough for you, but still make sure you took care of white people. Where you told yourselves, even though you had Abraham Lincoln, who wasn't for us, and you had Eisenhower, who wasn't for us, but nevertheless, you told yourself that Clinton was the first black president. Right? Did I miss the memo? I know I didn't miss the memo. In the 90s, right? You guys, as Democrats, black folk, and white folk too, they liked it too. But black folk were the people that said, yeah, call us super predators. We need to get ourselves off the streets. 3 strikes and you're out. Take away habeas corpus so that when you mess us up on trial, we can't even go and correct it and say you violated our constitutional rights. You did that. All he had to do was play a saxophone, smoke some weed, and cheat on his wife. And y'all made jokes about it. The same D.L. Hughley who's out here now. And look, I'm not trying to say that D.L. Hughley hasn't changed. Anybody has a propensity to change. But we're not going to act like D.L. Hughley wasn't out here telling y'all that Clinton was black because he was smoking weed. We're not going to tell you, we're not going to act like Dave Chappelle didn't tell you that Clinton was black because he smoked weed and he was a fornicator. I love killing them softly. He said it during that. How you doing, LaDon? You keep moving on, or you keep it moving, excuse me. Right. That's why your children are valuable. But watch this. I'm going to tell you something else. I'm not concerned about your children changing the world because I'm not here to change the world. There's a way out of the world. Remember, the word world even comes from the word cosmos with a K, right? Kosmos. I'm sorry, my hands are frozen, right? But cosmos. Cosmos literally means a system. You don't have to be in the system. You keep trying to put people in the system. This system is not broken. It is systemic. It's working the way it's supposed to, like clockwork. That's what systemic means. You don't have to keep checking on your clock every day. You just set it, and it keeps on moving. Are you in the hospital? We'll be praying for you. Hopefully, all is well. Well, not all is well, but all will be getting better. See, but you don't recognize that, right? 3 strikes and you're out. By the way, you forgot that before 3 strikes and you're out with Clinton, it was Reagan who was doing the war on drugs while putting crack cocaine in your cities because they knew you couldn't afford cocaine. And rather than just go ahead and do you a solid and lower the price of cocaine so that you would live longer on the cocaine, even though you'd be an addict, but at least you could live longer, it would break down your community, right? Because there's a lot of rich people that take cocaine all the time, right? They had cocaine in Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was cocaine and cola nut. And at the time, at one point, it was cocaine, cola nut, wine, right? But before 3 strikes and you're out, Ronald Reagan was busy putting drugs in the street, having his wife in between oral stuff she was doing, which he's famous for, by the way, just keeping it real with you, had her out there on the campaign trail telling you guys, say no to drugs. But interestingly enough, it sounds like the same thing with Trump because Reagan ran on Make America Great Again. Trump ran on Make America Great Again. Reagan was somebody that was known in the public. Trump was somebody who was known in the public. Reagan was somebody who made a name for himself by killing off Black Panthers. Trump started making a name for himself even when he was showing up on Oprah and talking trash about Republicans. He was on Oprah and all these other shows while saying that the Central Park Five deserved death, right? Reagan had a wife that was out here sleeping around. Trump had a wife that was known for sleeping around. Like they gave you the same exact thing. It's systemic. Did you not have people that you voted for in the 80s with Reagan? Did you not have people that you voted for with Bush who said no child left behind while all your children got left behind? And you fought a war against weapons of mass destruction that never existed? Did you miss the memo on Obama who told you straight up that he was not going to do anything at the border? And he said, when they asked him, how does it feel to be the first Black president? Are you going to do anything for Black people? And he said, I'm not the white president of the United States of America. I'm not the Black president of the United States of America. I'm the president. Everybody clapped. And he was telling you he ain't going to do nothing for you. Did you miss the memo with what I just said about Trump? Why were you weirded out by the stuff he did? He did what Reagan did. And did you miss the memo on Biden, who was there to help Clinton, by the way? And before that was talking trash about our people too, but was there to help Clinton to make sure that we were labeled as super predators? Did you miss the memo on Hillary Clinton, who worked as a lawyer for a company that Coretta Scott King came out and told you, please don't support this company? Why did she tell you not to support the company? She said, because the company are against Black folk. Hillary Clinton came out that company, signed a contract with Bill Clinton, had just enough to make sure that they looked like they were a happy family, one child. They couldn't stand each other, but they signed a contract. That's what marriage is anyways. But you guys signed a contract with the state. You should be signing contracts with each other to make sure that it's based off of your love. Once again, you keep looking up to these people, and then you're so disappointed when they show themselves to be there. You look up to Doja Cat, and then she disappoints you. You look up to Justin Bieber, and then he disappoints you. You look up to whomever you want to look up to, and they disappoint you. You look up to LeBron, he's gonna tell the truth, and then he disappoints you with what he says about China's situation. You look up to whomever. You look up to Kobe Bryant, and then he's out there cheating on his wife. But he's the greatest father because he's the greatest basketball player, right? Why don't you have a standard that's yours? Right? I'm tired. Like I got tired of being disappointed too. Amen, somebody. So I just said, you know what? I'd rather have a standard that's greater than that. I'd rather have a standard that's greater than myself. How do you get held accountable to a standard? Are you prepared for greatness? Are you prepared to be held to a standard that's greater than you? You hold yourself accountable, but a lot of you hold yourself accountable to yourself. If I like it, it's fine. If I don't like it, it's not fine. If I decide, it's fine. If I decide not, it's not fine. Well, no wonder you don't reach high heights, because your standard is only great enough for what you can see. But can you look beyond what you can see? Can you look beyond what you see? Just for a second. Can you look beyond what your experiences are in bad relationships that you had because you didn't know that you were in bad relationships? You thought that it was okay to go ahead and go on dates with people that weren't even concerned about marriage? Can you look beyond what you see just for a second? What would it look like if your child didn't have the generational trauma that you continue to bring? What would it look like if you were the curse breaker? What would it look like if you were healthy when you had sex, so that when you had a child, your child would be healthy? What would it look like if you gave birth to a child outside of a hospital that never had to have anything stuck inside them? Are you prepared for greatness? This is bigger than you. That's why it doesn't look like what you want it to look like, because you can only envision it through your prism. That's why I'm willing to adjust. You know why? Because through my prism, yeah, okay, I'd be this, I'd be micromanaging, blah, blah. I can't micromanage something that is bigger than me. Because to micromanage it, I got to say, hey, everybody stop doing everything. Stop the greatness. Just do only what I say. Do only what I see. Right? I got to at least have honest conversation with people. I can't have honest conversation if I don't know what other people even believe. You hear what I'm saying? I can't even have honest conversation a lot with people because I don't even know what they believe if I'm not willing to study or at least allow them to open their mouths. Every time somebody tells me something that I don't like, it doesn't mean that it's not something that I need to hear. Some of y'all shut down stuff before people can even finish their thought because you already assume that you know what they're going to say, because all you can hear is nothing more than yourself. Are you prepared for greatness? Because kings and queens have to allow people to come into their courts. Solomon has two women. King Solomon has two women come into his court. And they said, we got this situation. There's a baby. And her baby died. But she says it's mine. No, it's my baby. She's lying. Her baby's the one that died. Solomon had to hear them out. And he had to do something that was outside of what you think the box is. But it was really inside the box of the realm of thought process that he was in. Right? Right? But he had to go outside the box of what you thought. He raised a sword to it. That made zero sense. And the person who raised the sword, when he said to raise the sword, probably didn't think it made sense, but he put his hand up. Y'all like the story with Abraham, even though he's doing with his own son, he put his hand up. And the Most High said, hey, stop. I got a ram in the bush. I have something outside of what you think. Solomon said, go ahead, kill her. And what happened? The mother, who was real, said, oh, please, go ahead. Just let her have the baby. The other one was like, I don't care, kill it. Solomon had to be open to listen, to hear, and to make a decision. Just like that. How you doing, Shirley? Just like that. He had to be able to do all that. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to go through that? Are you ready to be obedient? Are you ready to use true wisdom, a dominion where wise things go on? Wise dominion, wisdom. He was a king in a kingdom, a king's dominion that used wisdom, wise dominion. The dominion, the environment was right. And in that environment, people will tell on themselves. When you're in the right environment, people tell on themselves. See, some of us are not able to get family members, situations, bad things, this, that, out of our life because we're so busy trying to only see it through our prism. Let the environment call people out. I know whose baby it is. I know whose righteousness it is. I know whose inheritance that is. I know. Let your yay mean yay and your nay mean nay. Stand on your principle, and don't even let it be your principle. Stand on a principle that's greater than yours. Stand on a principle that's greater than yours. Is it greater than yours? It's my principle. It's the way I think. You know what? Everybody else can kick rocks. If you don't like me, blah, blah. Okay, well, fine. Guess what? Then you're just not going to be liked. I know you don't like this. Look, I'm not trying to do stuff to be likable, but I comprehend that I must be somewhat likable if people are going to listen to me. I can't cuss everybody out and then talk about, well, only the real ones ride with me. Well, no, real people don't like being cussed out. Sometimes no response is the best response. Keep moving. Yeah. Right? Like, are you prepared for greatness? Are you prepared for this? They just can't handle me. They can't handle the fact that I make this much money and blah, blah. Right? But your mouth is atrocious. Everybody's always afraid to come up to me. Well, do you come off aggressive? Bruh, like, you know, like what's his name? Like Cat Williams said a long time ago, you gang bacon, are you gang banging on bacon? Wake up in the morning, you hard already on eggs, my N-word, on toast. We gang banging on bacon. Like you can't even eat without being hard. Right? Like there's a willingness to be obedient. There's your will to be obedient. Solomon ain't had to do nothing but just set up an environment. Your business might not make it, may not be making it, not just because, you know, nobody cares about you, this and that. Your business might not be making it because it's not conducive to people. It's got to be greater than you. Are you prepared for something greater than you? Is it bigger than you? Is it bigger than you? If I see, watch this. I've told the people this, and I'll go ahead and take my leave after this because my phone is having some issues, so it's already starting to go down as far as the battery, right? But I've said this before. Let me reiterate this. There are times that I don't. Well, there are times. Hopefully, I never steal, right? But I don't steal. There are times I used to steal. I don't steal, right? I don't steal not just because the Most High would be displeased. I know. I wish I could just tell you that simple. I don't steal just because I'm afraid I'll get arrested. I wish it was that simple. I don't steal because I think to myself, what would my father look like if I got caught stealing? I don't steal because I say to myself, more importantly, what would my wife look like her husband is out here stealing? Right? I don't steal because I think, what would my son look like if I'm out here stealing? I don't steal because my mother, who's passed away for over 20 years now, I still think about her face. So even when I was homeless and on the street and stuff like that, I wanted that. I look, it's just a bag of chips. I could easily put it in my coat pocket and walk out. These people ain't even charging right. I could easily just tell them, hey, and take it and walk out. But I don't steal because it's something bigger than myself. When I stole, when I lied, when I manipulated, I used to be those things. When I did those things, my family did those things. That's how the sins of the fathers become the sins of the son. Integrity. It's something that I had to realize, that lack of integrity affects my family. Right? Whether I like it or not. And I've been honest with my family, with my children, with my wife. But whether I like it or not, at some point, all darkness is going to come to light. At some point, things that I've been pretty honest with you guys. There's stuff that you guys probably never heard about me or whatever. And you might run into somebody and be like, oh yeah, I knew Kofi when he blah, blah, man. Yeah, man, he used to be wild. He used to be wild. He used to do this. He used to do that. It's going to come to light. And I made peace with that. That's something that, you know, I've done. Right? That used to be me. I made peace with that, right? I've forgiven myself for that. But I also know it's gonna be something that comes up. It doesn't mean that I can't break the curse with me, though. My son might find out Dad used to wild out, but he's not gonna wild out. My son might realize that, hey, Dad might have never cheated, but Dad dang sure didn't know how to be a husband. But I'm gonna be a husband full time, 100%, full stop. Right? Like, there comes a point to where he's got to be prepared for greatness. If you ask my son will tell you all the time. I'll be like, son, what are you supposed to be? And he'll say, greater than you. I say this to the ministerial staff. Hey, if I do this right, you guys are going to surpass me in certain things. It's only a matter of time. And when you do, all I ask, I don't need this, I don't need that. All I ask is every once in a while when somebody says, hey, where'd you learn some of this stuff from? Just drop a little nugget in there sometimes, like, hey, there's this guy named Kofi or whatever. That's fine. I'm not going to act like I don't want nothing, right? But all you got to do every once in a while, just be like, there was this dude named Kofi, and he was kind of, he was kind of off a little bit at first, I thought, but then I listened to him and I realized, like, man, he really talking on some real stuff. Right? So there's greatness in you. Are you prepared for it? They might have called you a monster, but you a monster. They might have called you a fiend, but you a queen, right? They might have said you was wild, but you were Yahweh's child, right? Even the people that don't like me, guess what? If you want me to do certain things, it come with a fee now. Now, I'll do a lot of stuff for free. Y'all see that all the time. I'll do a lot of stuff for donation. But hey, you want me to come and talk to your corporation and stuff like that now, you got to make sure that my family going to be taken care of. Before you wanted, you didn't even think that I could work for pennies for your corporation. Now some of you saying corporations, you talk about, can we set something up? People now that try to kick me off YouTube, now they sitting up here talking about, hey, can you make some videos and do some commercials and we'll pay you guys? I was like, I'll hear you now, right? I've been authorized because I've been obedient. I'm a man of authority because I'm a man under authority, right? I realized in the military, if General so-and-so says this, then it means that Commander says this, which means that Chief Warrant Officer says this, which means that Master Chief says this, which means that I, as a petty officer, do this. And those underneath me, they do this. I learned authority comes from somebody else. The only reason why I can speak to you the way that I do is because there's somebody greater than me that has given me authority. The only reason I have the ability to do what I do, thank you for the love, is because I learned a long time ago this about being authorized. Jurisdiction. We can't talk about jurisprudence. Jurisdiction. So that's why I say all the time, I can't control anything. Hey, be in control. What's this? Control it. I can't be in control. Because I can't serve what I control. I can't control what I serve. Control goes to the one that's above me. Burden of proof. Take it off you. I'm on. Thank you for that. All right. All I can do is serve. And I can't serve two masters. If I serve greatness, then I can't control it. Oh, I'm trying to stop because I promise you the battery's going down, right? I can't serve what I control. I can't control what I serve. If I serve greatness, I can't control it. Right? If I serve greatness, I can't control it. If you serve the greatness in yourself, then you can't even control it. People say self-control. That's somebody else's word trying to tell you what it is, but we don't control self. So I'm controlled by the one who's above me. He tells me what I can and can't do. That's why I serve him. The second I start saying I'm going to take control is the second that I'm asking him to serve me. Now, the Most High is the only one, because he's without sin, is the only one that can control and serve. Let you who's without sin cast the first stone. If you want to take control, then show me that you've never sinned. If you've never sinned, stop trying to take control of your life. That's a man-made principle. I control my business. No, you don't. Yeah, I do. I control my business. No, you don't. Because your business is going to take losses and it's going to have growth. If you serve it correctly, it will have more growth than loss. When you're fasting, you're going to have times that you feel like you're having a great time and you feel great. You're also going to have waves of pain. You can't control that. You can only serve the fast. And as you serve the fast, the one that's in control will bless you with what you need to make it through as you serve. Come on, Kofi. Talk that stuff about yourself real quick. Encourage yourself. Look, when I was talking for hours and only sometimes 0 people would come on a live session, talking for hours and 0 people would come on. I mean, I literally, not somebody may come on. So literally, I could talk for hours and 0 people come on. Had 2 people come on at one point. And those 2 people were faithful. Got to like 4 or 5 that would come on faithfully. And I was like, man, I'm really doing something out here. I was faithful over a few things. I served, even when it was a few. So the one that's in control said, let's turn it up a little bit. It became 20-something. Let's turn it up a little bit. Gets to 30-something. I'm thinking I'm doing something crazy. All of a sudden, before I know it, one day it's at 60. My wife is coming in the room. We high-fiving. Did you see it? It got to 60. All right, now we get to live. The live might have 1,000 people on at the same time on just one platform. And if I keep serving them, it's going to get there. I serve. I've never been in control. The word has never changed. It might have gotten better. Thank you for the love. It might have gotten better. And thank you for the love to the person who said it. You know who you are, right? It might have gotten better. I might be more in tune, but the message has never changed. My heart has never changed. My mindset has never changed. It's the same word. It's the same message. It's the same honor. It's the same grind. You want to talk about grind every day, 3-4 hours. Grind. And that's no pay, no charge. Put it out there, whatever you want to get. Class via donation. If you donate, great. If you don't, fine. Right? And because I was faithful over that, he says, man, I can't have you out here. You know how Levites work in the kingdom, Kofi. He said, you know how Levites work. You're not supposed to have a job. So you're going to have to make a decision. I want to bless you with more, but you might have to get rid of that 9-to-5 now. I watched you do it with the 9-to-5. You were faithful with it. Now I got something greater for you. So the only way, I'm just telling you, Kofi, I've been preparing you for this greatness. You can't be as great as you are and still have to make sure that you have people that are willing to spit on you and cuss you out because their order, they messed up in their own order. You can't be sitting there coming to tears because you want to snatch some little woman who works at a fast food restaurant just like you do. You want to snatch her out the car. Because she's treating you like crap because she's been treated like crap all day. Like you can't do that anymore, Kofi. Like you gotta study. See, you want pastors and you want leaders and you want people in position that do what you do and think like you think. But how, once again, beloved, let not your heart be troubled. If you believe in the Father, also believeth in me. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would not have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. Thank you, Sister Mary. Appreciate you too. Appreciate Sister Moselle too, right? Or excuse me, Minister Moselle, excuse me, right? I go to prepare a place for you. You can't, if you're gonna be a shepherd, you got to go prepare a place. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. You got to be in a position where you can have an environment to make somebody. This is when you don't like authority. This is when you don't like authority. But I've got to be in a position sometimes to make somebody, but I can't make somebody who's not a sheep. Oh, I'm not a sheep. I'm not sheeple. Don't label me as that. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Somebody says, well, that's the Lord, and you ain't the Lord. I get it. I'm not saying I'm Jehovah, but he's the Lord of lords. And he said that he would give you shepherds after his own heart. We talked about that yesterday for those who were in reading and writing Hebrew class with us. Right? We literally wrote that out. What is that? What that even means? It literally is quaf, hit, Kof hit Lamed Tav, which is being prepared, right? Let's listen. If you're going to assemble people, if you're going to get this together, a kohelet is somebody who is prepared to protect the same way the shepherd does, even if it means being on the cross. That's what it means to be in this position. You have to be prepared to protect. Are you prepared to protect this vision that Most High has given you no matter what? If he gives you a vision, he's going to give you provision. So you got to learn how to protect provision. That's why he says, give me 10% of everything. Time, talent, effort, energy, gifts, etc. He's trying to get you to see. See, you think that watch this. If the mob did it to you, you would pay him because you don't want to die. They call that protection money. But the Most High says, if you sow into me, I'm going to protect everything about you. And not only will I protect it, but then I'll make sure that I store it up. So when you have need, I'll be able to give it right back out. But this time when I give it out, it'll be given out his measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For the same measure that you meet, shall Elohim give unto thee through the people that are around you. This is protection money. This is not just a tithe. This is for me to protect your hopes and your dreams and your goals and your visions and your people and your nation, because you are my people. You are my nation. You were called out of darkness into this marvelous light. And in order to make sure that the lights stay on, I got to pay the electric bill. Come on, somebody. I'm trying to be obedient. I'm probably going to get this phone down to where I'm not going to be able to use it today, but that's all right. Right? I'm just saying, you got to get this. You got to get this in your head. How are you going to protect Israel, but Israel has nothing in the storage unit? You have nothing stored up for yourself. You know, when you go to buy clothes, you go to a store. That's a storage place where they put clothes in. When you go to buy food, that's a storage place that they put food in. When you go to buy shoes, that's a storage place that they put food in. Shoes in, excuse me. Right? If you go to get your nails done, you're going to a place where they store things to make sure that they can let you have an enjoyable experience. When you go to get gas, they store gas underneath the ground that you might be able to pump it up into your vehicle. And when you pay them, you're paying them, hoping that they'll make sure that they put some more in there so that they can give it again later on. You believe in the principles when it comes to giving it to anybody outside of your community, but when it comes to your community, you have no storage. You know what's wild to me? Holy Spirit just said this. She said this to me earlier, but she reminded me, brought it to my remembrance. It's wild to me that some of y'all have better relationships with bosses you hate than you do with people that you're married to who you claim you love. You hear what I'm saying? Some of you have better relationship with bosses that you claim you hate than with people who you're married to who you claim you love. I do need to say it one more again. Some of you have relationships with people you claim you hate that are better than with relationships with people that you claim that you love, who you're married to. You hear what I'm saying? We got to be real about this. Are you prepared for greatness? How are you going to have a great marriage, but the place that you say is a bad place to work, and you have a better relationship with people there? That means you don't sow in the right place. You don't know where tribute is. You don't tithe to the right place. You don't give first fruits to your marriage. You'll give it to somebody else. Why? Because you think there's more honor in the person who pays you to be a slave or to be in indentured servitude for the rest of your life. You think there's more honor in that than it is to make sure that you tithe into your own marriage. That's not on your spouse. That's on you. Baby boy, baby girl, sorry. Not sorry. That's on you. Right? Yeah, we got patience for strangers. Somebody's out there shivering and can't eat. And look, praise Yah, you want to give something to them. You go and you buy them a meal. You'll make them a meal. You'll make them meals for a week in a row. Hey, if you're here every day this week, I promise I'll come back and feed you. I'll feed you. I'll feed you. I'll feed you. And by the way, this is First Friday, so we hope you go into community and feed somebody or help somebody that needs help. I'm on, right? But I'll go out there. I'll feed you. I'll help you. I'll guide you. I'll protect you. I'll do this, right? But your spouse come home. Why you want me to cook? You can feed yourself. I'm tired. I had a rough day. But the same person that's tired had a rough day, you probably gave somebody $5 who needed it. You'll give first fruits. You'll give a tithe to everybody else, but you have nothing in your storage unit. And then when your storage unit is empty, when your bank account emotionally is negative, when your emotional bank account comes negative and another bill comes due where it's time for you to love, you can't figure out, but you gave it to everybody else. Your people are supposed to be called by the name of Yah. You don't mind making sure you call your boss the right name, but you can't say Yahweh. You don't mind making sure that you meet a stranger for the first time. You say, "What's your name?" I want to make sure I get it right. But you don't want to say Yahshua or Jesus. I'm sorry, or Yahshua or Yeshua. You want to say Jesus. Somebody says that's not his name. It means half man, half Zeus. We can prove it to you. We can show it to you. It doesn't matter because that's the only name that I know. My grandmother knew that name. My grandfather knew that name. Who cares if it was wrong? I'm sorry. Not sorry. If it's wrong, and he said, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and fast and pray, then will I hear from heaven, right? Then will I hear from heaven, and I will bless their land. But name doesn't matter. There's no, who cares? Who cares about the name? But then you sing songs in the wrong name all the time. Are you prepared for greatness? I will, as a result of my will. I will, as a result of my free will. I will freely give. I will bless the Lord, Barak. I will, but at all times, and his praise shall continuously be in my mouth. Every time I open my mouth, it better give praise. Well, you know what? You just gonna have to understand, and you got to understand where I'm at, and blah blah. And I don't care. And just because I say it this way doesn't mean that I don't love you, and blah blah. But his praise shall continuously be in your mouth. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care if you better just get how I say. You better know blah blah. No, his praise shall continuously be in your mouth. What are you talking about? Who do you serve? That don't sound like the Most High, because he said your praise, his praises. Excuse me. You don't sound like you praising him when you cussing me out. You don't sound like you praising him when you telling your child that you're gonna be just like your daddy, this and that, whatever. That don't sound like praise. It don't sound like praise when you can get up and be on time for work, but you can't get up and be on time for kingdom business. Your spouse needs to be at work on time. You can't get on time though, but you want to make sure that they're going to take care of their part of the bills. I know I'm stepping on some toes, but I want you to comprehend, Mansa. I want you to comprehend Nzinga. I want you to comprehend Ty. I want you to comprehend Tubman. I want you to comprehend Truth, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm naming women out of our diaspora who have done incredible things. I want you to comprehend Musa. I want you to comprehend Moshe. I want you to comprehend Abraham. I want you to comprehend Ruth. Come on. I want you to comprehend Esther. I want you to comprehend. Like, if you're going to be great, it's time to prepare. Crucify the flesh daily. Crucify the flesh daily. Every day. Prepare yourself. I speak this over somebody's life. Because of my battery in my phone, we won't be able to do our normal shout out on TikTok. I apologize for that. My phone is, pray for me. I'm hoping I don't have to get another phone. My phone got wet yesterday while I was doing some Patreon stuff for y'all, and it hasn't recovered yet. So just pray for us, and hopefully everything will work out the way it's supposed to. But because I don't feel like trying to buy another phone, expensive as these phones are, right? I don't even have the money really for it. But I mean, because of what we do, I got to get one, right? Yeah, I did some of that stuff last night. Rice doesn't always necessarily get it done all the way it needs to, help some. But I'll probably turn it off as soon as we're finished and let it dry up some more. It's working. It's just not charging that well. So and today it literally was at 95% when we started, and that's really quickly it made its way down to 29%, and it's kind of stayed at 13 for a little bit. So it's still getting itself back in order, but it's working. But I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you. I appreciate the greatness in you. But like I said, sometimes greatness sometimes greatness has to be challenged. Sometimes greatness has to be challenged, right? If you want to see if you're a diamond, sometimes somebody's gonna have to cut you. Somebody's gonna have to put pressure on you before that, right? In between, somebody's gonna have to burn you up. Take it to Apple. Yeah. Right. Somebody gonna have to burn you up. Somebody gonna have to jack you up sometimes and tell you you could be better. Right? Just like somebody can tell me you get some lotion on these ashy knuckles. Right? Somebody has to remind you, keep these commandments. Yahshua said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. That's what he said, right? So if I love you and I have his heart, then that's what I have to do. I have to remind you of the commandments. So yeah, sometimes I'm gonna need to challenge you. And guess what? That means sometimes if I am who I say I am, I might have to tell you something that's also challenging to me to tell you, as much as it is going to be challenging for you to believe in. Like, I need you to comprehend that. Right? I still deal with some little boy stuff inside me. Sometimes it's hard for me to believe when I'm telling you. Can I be honest with you for a second? Right? How you doing, Vargas? Right? May I be honest as we get ready to take our leave? It is challenging for me sometimes to tell you to do something that I've never even seen people do, but I know it's biblical. Right? I haven't seen people do some of the stuff we've already done. I'm not even saying the stuff that's going to come. I'm talking about stuff that we've already done. I've never seen anybody do it like that. But I know it's supposed to be because I've seen it in the book. I've seen it in the word. You see what I'm saying? I saw a great example of a father, but I also never saw a father that said he loved me until I started telling him when I was older, I love him, to the point to where he finally had to say it back. So I had to speak life into the father, right? I had to speak life into my own father in order to stop the curse from my father to come into me. And while I was saying that, I was speaking life to my children and saying, I love you to them too. I'd never seen it, but I knew it was righteous. I knew I needed it because it's my love language. My love language is words of affirmation. I knew from when I was young. I didn't know to call it words of affirmation, but I knew I loved words. And if you didn't give me the words, so even when I was young, I never got it. And finally, I made a decision. Am I going to not honor my father? Am I not just going to leave? Am I going to feel bad for the rest of my life because he's just never going to say it? Or am I going to say it to him to let him know that I've always needed this? Now, he can't wait to say it. Not only can he not wait to say it to me, he can't wait to say, hey, give my love to the family. Give my love to right? Make sure little Solomon knows. Make sure the oldest ones know. He can't wait. He can't wait to text it now, right? And see, if you're not careful, you will have people around you. Once again, it's about something bigger than you. You have people around you that are waiting for you to help them to become greater. And you've already made a decision in your mind that you can't help them. They'll never be able to be helped. They'll never be able to grow. It's bigger than you. Right? I'll turn the other cheek. I'm not saying that I only got two. Right? I can't give you. You're right. I only got four technically, right? But I only got two. I can't give you but so many chances. I can't give you but so many chances with this thing, right? But I'll hang in there with you. Be greater. Love greater. Support greater. Give greater. Respect greater. Honor greater. I don't know if I can do it this time. When you've done all you can to stand, what does it say? Does it say give up? No, it says keep standing. I don't know if I can do it. Look, through men, none of this stuff is possible, but through Elohim, all things are possible. Keep standing. I don't know if I can hug them one more time. If you only knew what he said to me, look, comprehend whether or not you're going to be his wife. If you're going to be his wife, guess what? You're going to have to love the hell out of him. Keep standing. She keeps telling me, Kofi, she keeps saying this and that. You know how it is when they say this and that. You know, look, I know what it is. I've been called all it. I know what it is to be told that I'm good for nothing, that I'm this, that I'm that I'm stupid, blah, blah. Guess what? Keep standing. It gets better. You hear what I'm saying? And while you're standing in the physical, kneel in the spirit and pray. Come on, right? But keep standing. When the arrows are slung at you, keep standing. You know, when people shoot arrows at you in battle, you don't go to your knees, you don't fall down, you just put up your shield, you keep standing, and you keep moving forward. Keep standing. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you a lot of things, right? That's why I even told you before. When somebody says they don't want to give you this or give you that, fine. They don't have to give you anything. Keep standing. They won't give us reparations. Become a nation by yourself and stand. They don't want to give me respect. Become a nation by yourself and stand. Keep standing. I was thinking about this last night. This is the last thing I have time to say because my phone is literally about to shut off and I have to make sure I can use it if I need to, right? Peep game, last thing. We're not gonna have time for our little, shout out today. I apologize for those who look forward to it. We'll get it in tomorrow, I promise. Maybe we'll make up for it tonight. Who knows? But I thought about this. Say whatever you will about somebody that's 80, 90, 100 years old. I gotta honor the fact that they kept standing. I gotta honor that, man. Say what you will, even if they act foolish. They did something where they kept standing. Right? Sometimes the best ability is availability. There's a lot of people that were wise, right? But didn't do things to make sure that they stood past 25. They could have been the next scientist. They could have been the person we look up to. They could have been the grandparent, but they decided to go with somebody wrong thing, wrong place, wrong time. I'm not saying that police officers don't come looking for people, but I'm saying sometimes too, we got to be honest about this stuff. Sometimes we got to be in a position where we just keep standing, where we can keep standing. Keep standing, keep the faith, keep your word, keep your life, preserve your life. Malcolm X said it like this: preserve, people keep talking about give up your life, right? No, you don't have to give up your life. Preserve your life. It's the best thing you got. And if you got to give it up, this is what he said: if you got to give it up, make sure that it's even, Steven, right? If I'm gonna give up my life, let me at least get some kind of pay. And I don't even talk about payback. That's what Malcolm was talking about, to protect yourself. And I get that. If you got to protect yourself like somebody trying to kill you, of course, right? But if my life is to be given up, at least let it be something that's sown into greatness. Let somebody say, when Kofi passes from this earth, whenever it is, I told you my prayer is to make it to 150. But that's what I want. If the Most High decides that you ain't making it past 50, if the Most High said you ain't making it past tomorrow, when my eyes close for the last time, let my life have been an example. Through the mistakes I've made, through the positive things I've done, let my life be an example that somebody learned from it and grew from it. Let my life be something that my son, let my life be something that my son let my life be something, sorry. Let my life be something that my son says that I'll live for what he died for. Let my life be something to where my wife is taken care of through what I was able to accomplish. Let my life be something that the ministerial staff, that SOC, that each and every individual who I took time out to text or to call or to give an encouraging word to, let it be something that says that, hey, he'll live with me even when he's gone. That's what eternity is about anyways, right? Like, he might not be here in time, but he's here with me. Let my light so shine before men that even if I'm not in Houston, that people in Houston are enlightened because the light shines. Praise Yahweh. Yeah. I thank you for being on today. I just want you to be prepared for greatness. It's in you. Stop doubting if you're great. You were born with it in you. We just wanted to come out. So let your light so shine. We can't go as long. We can't do our normal shout out. But I hope that you guys got something from it. Thank you again for those who are watching live or watching this later on. Once I get this phone situation taken care of, we will try to upload what we did yesterday with Minister Morel. We apologize for the issues I've been having with the phone, but prayerfully those will be taken care of soon. But we thank you all. We appreciate you. We honor the King and Queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside that kingdom of queendom yet, we appreciate the potential King and Queen in each and every one of you. Please study this word, meditate on it, so you can be hearers and doers simultaneously. Remember your affirmations: Romans 8:1, Romans 8:11, Romans 8:18, Romans 8:19, Romans 8:28, and please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And thank you guys. I'm okay. I'm just, I'm thankful and grateful. Overwhelmed right now. Yeah. Just thank you guys. I appreciate you. And as always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time. By being a voice to the voices and speaking the unspoken until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, yourself, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Peace.